Hey, it's me, your boy Blue Getsuga, and today I'll be talking about one of the newest archetypes from one of no, I'm not sure what to call these sets, but anyways, they're called Driatrons, and they're a ritual archetype, which I wasn't really expecting. Anyways, let's go through the cards. First, we have Drytron Ban Alpha. Oh yeah, by the way, all these cannot be normal summoned or set, and all of them they have to tribute one of the Driatron monster or a ritual monster from your hand or field to special summon themselves to, you know, to the field, and then you get a special effect afterwards. And for this one, you get to add one ritual monster from your deck to your hand, and you cannot special summon monsters the turn you activate this effect, except monsters that cannot be normal or special summoned or set, which that restriction applies to all of them, but I'm not sure how that works for the ritual monster. But yeah, I'm not really sure how that works with the ritual monster, but I think it I think you can ritual summon after you special summon these. Anyways, next we have Drytron Ross Beta. Same clause. When it's special summoned by its own effect, you can return one of your banished Drytron monsters to your graveyard. And then you have the same restriction as the other one. Next we have Drytron L Gamma. When it special summons itself with its own effect, you can special summon one Driatron monster with 2,000 attack from your graveyard except itself. So that's also really good. This is definitely three of. I mean, there's only 5 of these in the deck and the ritual monsters, so you might as well play 3 of each, I guess. And then next we have Drytron LTA Delta. You can, same effect. But for this one, you can reveal one ritual monster or one ritual spell in your hand, draw one card. And we have Tritron Al Zeta. You can tribute. I'm not. I'm not gonna read that. I'm just gonna read this part. Then you can add one ritual spell from your deck to your hand, which is also really great. Also, you may be wondering, how do you ritual summon this when all the main deck monsters are level 1? Well, it's pretty interesting, really, because in this deck, you ritual summon using attack points. Oh, wrong card. You ritual summon using attack points. And because all of them have 2,000 and the ritual monster has 4,000, there you go. And here we have the boss monster. It has 4,000 attack and it's level 12. Your opponent cannot target this card with monster effects. Already pretty good. If this card is ritual summoned using monsters whose total level equals 2, which when I was reading this kind of confused me because how would you do that for a level 12? Until I actually went back to read the ritual spell. Anyways, if this card was ritual summoned using monsters whose total level equals 2 or less, you can attack all monsters, all special summoned monsters your opponent controls once each, which is really good, and you can basically deal a ton of damage with this card, especially with limiter removal because all of these are machine monsters. So that's kind of nuts. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can banish any number of monsters from your graveyard whose total attack equals 2,000 or 4,000, which again is really good. Then target one face-up card your opponent controls for each 2,000 attack sent, and then you just send that target to the graveyard. It doesn't destroy, which is also pretty good. This monster cannot be targeted, and you can basically get rid of face-up cards your opponent controls, which is pretty nice. Oh, and it can attack all special summon monsters your opponent controls, so that's also really great. Then we have the field spell, which I actually like the idea for the field spell. It's basically like a giant spaceship, but the spaceship is a dragon. And it reminds me of a certain. Oh, yeah, it reminds me of that new Pokemon from Gen 8, as well as, I think, Eden Zero. Yeah, I like the design for this card. Anyways, when this card resolves, not when it's activated, but when it resolves, you can add one Driatrons spell trap from your deck to your hand, which is really great because you can just add the ritual spell directly to your hand. Unfortunately, you can't add a monster directly to your hand, but you can add a card that would get you a monster. We'll talk about that a little bit later. The effects of ritual spell cards and their effects, keep that in mind, and their effects cannot be negated, meaning your opponent can't solemn your ritual spell. It's basically like Protocol, but for your ritual spells. And once per turn, if a monster is normal or special summoned while you control a Driatron monster, you can decrease the level of those face-up monsters by 1 for every 1,000 attack they have. Which is interesting to say the least, because it's a very niche effect, but it can mess with Synchro decks and it can mess with Xyz decks. So it can essentially kind of cripple your opponent. It can, but you shouldn't expect to do it all that often. Next, we have their ritual spell. You can tribute. I thought I closed this out. Well, never mind, I can't. Anyways, next we have the ritual spell. Tribute machine monsters from your hand or field whose total attack equals or exceeds the attack of the monster you ritual summon. Since all of them have 2,000 and your boss monster has 4,000, it should be very easy. And if you do ritual summon that monster from your hand or graveyard. And keep in mind, all the main deck monsters besides the ritual allow you to tribute another main deck monster or the ritual monster, meaning that you can tribute the ritual monster, special summon, get certain effects off, and then you can potentially get this card to your hand, and then ritual summon that monster you sent to the graveyard, which is really great. Also, this card has a second effect, and if you have the field spell, your opponent can't respond to this, or at least negate the activation. Was it respond or negate the activation? Yeah, they can't negate the effects of it. Okay. So the second effect, if this card's in your graveyard, you can target one Driatron monster you control. It loses 1,000 attack until the end of your opponent's turn, and if it does, add this card to your hand. So this card has a way of getting itself back. The only thing that sucks is you're lowering the attack of one of your Driatron monsters. You'd preferably want to do this for your ritual monster, because you don't want to use it on your smaller monsters, otherwise it would be harder for you to ritual summon later. So there's that. Next we have Driatron Nova. Special summon one Driatron monster from your deck, but destroy it during the end phase. I'm not sure why this card is a hard once per turn, given how linear the deck is. But it is a hard once per turn. This card is still great, though. It is still amazing. Because if you don't have, like, let's say you have your ritual monster, a ritual spell, and you only have one of the other main deck monsters, you can basically summon the other main deck monster from your deck, and then you can ritual summon both the monster you summon off of Nova as well as with the monster in your hand. So that's pretty good. Next we have Driatron Eclipse. This deck has a lot of spell cards, like 5 spell cards. Anyways, target one Driatron monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. That's alright. During your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard and target one Driatron monster you control against 2,000 attack until the end of your opponent's turn. Meaning you could potentially make any of your monsters a 4K beater, or you can just, turn one of your monsters into a 1 card tribute for your ritual monster, which is also pretty good. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there were more, if we got more ritual monsters and more main deck monsters, given the artwork for, because you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I think, like about 9 of them, including, and I guess 10 if you include the base itself. So we're going to be getting more monsters for this archetype, which is pretty nice. I like this archetype a lot so far. Anyways, next we have Driatron. Yeah, Driatron Asterism. During your main phase, you can target one Driatron monster or one ritual monster you control and one face-up monster your opponent controls. The target you control loses exactly 1000 attack until the end of your opponent's turn. And if it does, you can destroy that monster, your opponent's monster. So basically, it's interruption. I'm not sure how often or you're going to use this in a ritual deck, but it's still pretty good. It's a still pretty good card. And lastly, we have the counter trap for the archetype. When your opponent would normal or special summon a monster while you control a ritual monster. I mean, it sucks how you need to control a ritual monster for this to work, but yeah. You negate the summon, and if you do, shuffle that monster into the deck, which is pretty good because it also works on pendulum summons, since it said monsters. Anyways, lastly, we just have, this card that can actually work for the archetype. And that's all. And that's all I have to, I shouldn't say that. That's all there is to Driatrons so far. So far, I think is a great archetype, and I look forward to playing this deck. At first, when I looked at some of the main deck cards, I thought I was going to be disappointed. I mean, main deck monsters, I thought I was going to be disappointed, but it turns out they look quite promising. Anyways, it's me, your boy Blue Getsuga, and I'm out.